Ladies and gentlemen, yes, this is your favorite show, Sports Unfolded, with your favorite hosts, Eric and Ron.
Hey, welcome to Sports Unfolded Major League Baseball 2022 trade deadline show. So trade deadline is just finished up about 2 hours ago, roughly. I'm your host, Eric. Main man. Hey, I did it again.
Wrong way.
Man, Ron. So we've got a lot to unfold here with these major league trades. I mean, it was just nonstop for about the last hour or so of that trade. So period. So we're just gonna start right off with obviously the biggest trade that was made, and that was by the San Diego Padres and Juan Soto. So overall, we knew Soto was a possibility of moving. Didn't think it was really going to happen. Ended up going through. So Padres 58-46 right now, second in the NL West, 12 games behind the Dodgers, but they are in the second wild card spot. So they needed to make some moves. They accomplished that. First off, picked up Juan Soto, outfielder. Not having the best year, though. If you look at his numbers, 342 at-bats, 246 batting average, 21 home runs, 46 RBIs, 84 hits. But what do you think he brings to this team, Ron?
A future Hall of Famer, basically.
That is the breakdown that the fans want.
Look, first of all, he's going to inject some excitement.
Without a doubt.
Like when you watch him play a game, he's very entertaining. Not only just because of his skill, just as an entertaining figure on the field. When he's at the plate taking pitches and he does that little shuffle when he doesn't swing at it and it's a ball. Just little things like that. Kind of, it's almost like it's fan interactive.
Yeah.
Because the fans love that. They love that stuff. They love a player that brings something to the game that doesn't quite make it so boring.
Chakra, thanks for joining. Look, at the end of the day, if you think about what they have, if Tatis Jr. comes back and is healthy and right, so now with him, Machado, I mean that's a lethal 1-2-3 punch.
And they have some other bats too, and don't forget Bell came over.
Josh Bell, right, first baseman, batting .301 with 14 home runs, 57 RBIs, 113 hits on the season.
Yeah.
So you think about his production as well. So now you've basically given yourself a lineup that's very competitive. But not only did they pick up some bats, they picked up a pitcher. I don't know if you've heard of him, Josh Hader. So one of the best relievers in the game, 29 saves on the season, 1-4 with 34 innings pitched, 4.24 ERA, 59 strikeouts. So numbers don't look as impressive, but again, leading the league in saves. They give up Taylor Rogers in this deal, who was actually second in saves. So to me, it was kind of a wash in that aspect of it. But you look at Hader and just what the sheer dominance he can have.
Yeah,
and then look, talk about playoff baseball.
Eric, yeah, there is a difference between Hader and Rogers. First of all, Rogers has struggled for probably the last month or so. But Josh Hader had a couple of bad outings. Now, don't get me wrong. He's only got 2 blown saves, and his ERA is so high because of those 2 blown saves where he really got lit up. But that's the exception other than, the rule. The rule is when he comes in, game's over.
Yeah, lights out. Yep.
There's really no one that has that strikeout, like that miss the strikeout miss, I guess is what they call it, ratio than any other closer in history. So he even outdoes Mariano in that aspect, but not taking away from Mariano, because I think Mariano was the smartest closer of all time. And that's where things are different. But Josh Hader just has that pure natural talent, and he can just fire it in there and challenge any hitter.
So my only question would be, obviously, is obviously the starting pitching. They didn't make much of a move there. They feel pretty comfortable with that. Picked up another bat with Brandon Drury,
Yes.
third baseman, having a good year as well. 274 batting average, 20 home runs, 59 RBIs, 96 hits overall. So
Yeah,
again,
that's another chunk, right, that they added.
So when you look at what they're trying to accomplish, the odds are they're not catching the Dodgers. But they're basically securing their wild card spot and then being able to say, look, when we get into the playoffs, we have A, the bats, and B, we have the relief pitcher, the closer, that we feel so comfortable with that if we get in a good situation, we're going to save the game and win it. On the other hand, team they're really going against, the Dodgers, they made a move as well. And they picked up a Joey Gallo from the New York Yankees, who's currently he's at 233 at-bats, batting 159 with 12 home runs, 24 RBIs, 37 hits overall. He's a strikeout machine. But they've got a 12-game lead in the National League. They're 69-33. This move to me is just if you can strike lightning in a you know what I mean? Like, can they get something out of Joey Gallo?
This is the Dodgers saying, in the words of Jeff Spicoli from Fast Times at Ridgemont High, my dad is a television repairman. He has an awesome set of tools. I can fix him.
So, maybe they can.
Maybe they can. Look, if you can't hit in that Yankees lineup.
Yeah. And, the Dodgers lineup's just as potent. So,
right.
I think it's a mental thing and maybe a change of scenery. Look, he was never a phenomenal batter to begin with. I think his career batting average is 230 or somewhere in that range. It might even be lower than that. I'm going to bring it up, actually, while you talk a little bit more about Gallo.
Well, I don't think that is really what LA was looking for in this.
Career batting average 201.
Wait, 201?
Yeah. First
Gallo's career average is 201.
Yeah.
How is he a major league player?
I don't even.
I don't know. But when I look at the Dodgers, they already had. Look, if you're gonna add a player, you got to add something substantial. I don't think Gallo is what this team needed, to be honest with you.
So 106 strikeouts so far in the season. His career high is 213.
Oh my God!
And then he's also had a 207.
How does this guy still have a job?
196.
I wonder why the Yankees wanted to get rid of him.
Wow. Actually, if you combine his Texas and Yankees last season, so 125 plus 88, he's over 200 again last season. So he basically strikes out over 200 times a season. I don't know what they were trying to accomplish here.
He's a problem to be in the lineup. And this is why the Yankees went out and shored up their outfield.
Yeah.
Benintendi and Bader. That's what it is. Bader.
Yeah. And so they can move.
That's
Judge
why they
back
did it. That's what. This is a bad move.
Wow. The more I look at it, like, what are they thinking?
I don't know.
Granted, they didn't need much, so I guess to them, it's if they get something out of it, great. If they don't, they didn't lose anything. Yeah,
but you're taking up a spot on the roster.
Yeah,
that could be for somebody that can actually hit.
I don't think he's making the playoff roster. Not if he's going to keep putting up those numbers.
Yeah, probably will because obviously his career average is 201.
Yeah. So, in your opinion, Dodgers still win the West, even with the Padres moves?
That's debatable.
Do you
That's
think they could get
debatable.
from 12 games? What's that, like 70 games left, maybe 60, 70 games left?
There are plenty of games to do it. There are plenty of games to do it. It is
Second,
possible.
second best record.
Highly unlikely. I mean, that's a big pad to have for a team that probably just, needs to go 40 and 30
Yeah. I
the
mean, they
rest
could
of
go
the way.
and still. So I can't see that. I think they win the West.
Yeah, I do too, but
Key will be the playoffs.
it could happen.
Key will be the playoffs. So let's look at the NL Central, and we'll talk first about the St. Louis Cardinals. They picked up Jose Quintana, pitcher from the Pirates.
Yep.
Currently 3-5, 103 innings pitched, a 3.50 ERA, 89 strikeouts.
You see, that
It's
3.5 is important because you put him on a team that can score some runs, St. Louis Cardinals,
That's wins.
and those are wins.
Yeah, look, they're second in the NL Central, 3 games behind Milwaukee. They're 1 game behind the last wild card spot, which is Philly. But we'll talk about the Phillies and what they did. They're going to have a tough time. They need to try to take the division.
Yeah,
Because I don't know, once we discuss what Philly did, if they're going to be able to catch Philadelphia.
well, that's the problem in the West. You're looking at teams, L.A., San Diego, Atlanta, New York Mets, Philadelphia Phillies. They all really bulked up.
Yeah.
St. Louis, they bulked up some pitching, but not, with
Look,
all-stars.
yeah, they're 54-48. Very good team.
Yeah.
Consistent, steady. I mean, Quintana probably gets you a couple wins now. Like you said, his ERA is extremely good.
Yeah.
Considering the team he was with. So again, I don't think he'd be 3-5 with the Cardinals if he started all season.
Yeah, he'd have at least 7, 8 wins probably.
You know what I mean? So now it's a matter of, can the bats continue to flourish? Will one of these teams that picked up some guys not mesh as well? And then St. Louis gets that,
right, and that's what St. Louis has got to hope for, either overtake Milwaukee, which is doable.
Yeah, 3 games is very doable.
Because I think St.
The
Louis
Brewers
did better than
Milwaukee. Absolutely. Agreed. I mean,
so I think they caught Milwaukee. So that would be, like you said, that would be the spot where they're probably going to have to win out. Because look, unless injuries happen to one of these other teams, those are where the wild card positions are going.
And I love what you said. Look, if you look at it this way, I don't think they made the trade to get into the wild card. They made the trade to win the division.
Yeah, I think so too.
They saw what Milwaukee was doing. Milwaukee didn't make a lot of moves, didn't pick up anybody realistically that's going to make a major difference.
Yeah.
They swapped their closers, so we got to see how Rogers does versus Hader and how that clubhouse now. You talk about a guy that was well-respected in the clubhouse with Hader, and now you got to replace him.
Yeah, because that's a big thing. Milwaukee, when you're getting rid of your closer to get another closer and some other guys to bring in as prospects and possibly one guy that could go into the bullpen and perform well, but you just got rid of that sure thing.
Yeah.
And that says a lot. That says volumes.
So I think the Cardinals look. So we'll talk about the Brewers. Picked up Matt Bush, pitcher from the Rangers. He was 2-1, 36.2 innings pitched, 2.95 ERA, 45 strikeouts. So you talk about that middle relief, the setup guy. Then you bring in Taylor Rogers, who's 1-5, 4.35 ERA, 41 innings pitched.
See the difference between his numbers and
they're pretty
Hader?
close. They're pretty similar. I mean, Hader's got more strikeouts, 11 more strikeouts, only 1 more save. And the ERAs are almost identical.
Yeah.
And he's got 1 more loss. Hader's 1-4, and Rogers was 1-5. But sometimes, to my point, would be the camaraderie, being in battles with these guys for years now.
And
How
just
do
the
they
sheer
slot-
dominance of Hader. Like I said, when he gets on that mound and he's throwing fastballs by the best hitters. That's what he does.
Yeah. Listen, 59 strikeouts, very impressive. I think that Milwaukee loses this division.
I think so too.
And
I
it
think so
puts them
too.
out of the playoffs because the other three teams that we're going to discuss as well are definitely going to be in. And that's the NL East here. And the Atlanta Braves, they kind of surprised me with the lack of moves as well. I wasn't overly impressed with what they did, but they're first in the NL wild card. They're 62-41, second in the East. So you look at it from a standpoint of they're in a good spot.
I actually like what they did.
Did you? So Jake Odorizzi,
Yeah, you're shoring up that starting rotation.
right? And Houston again has a very good pitching staff, so they could afford to lose him. 4-3, 60 innings pitched.
And you give up that relief pitcher. Will Smith was a very, very good pitcher out of that pen. But what they did is they ended up going out and get Raciel Iglesias, who fills that role and then some. So having a strong bullpen already, they sacrificed one pitcher to shore up their starting rotation, and then you go out just to refill that hole that you just left with somebody even better than Will Smith.
And again, defending champions, very young. They re-signed their outfielder. So again, they're staying consistent. In Acuna Jr. has come back and looked very good.
They have their core.
They have a very
sewn
good
up
core.
for 7 years.
Yeah. So again, do I feel like they're in, unless something drastically moves.
Yeah, I don't even know. Like, you seriously would have to lose at least 2 or 3 guys in order to not make the playoffs at this point.
The Mets, 65-37, first in the NL East. Would you say their moves impressed you? I think this, out of all the teams that made moves, most surprising to me were the New York Mets because they were rumored for everybody.
Yeah.
All the top names and didn't get any of them.
Right.
And look, you look at some of the things. They had an opportunity maybe to bring Syndergaard back, which you think about a good story.
But I do like what they did. Like they added some depth to their team.
Yeah, I think the key for them. Look, DeGrom comes back. His health, right? That's like picking up a free agent.
Yes, it is.
Or a trade, or making a trade.
And you're in first place.
Yeah, right. So you're getting your number one starter back.
Yep.
So it could benefit them. To your point, a lot of depth, a couple first basemen, an outfielder. They got a pitcher in the deal that just got thrown in, and I don't think.
Yeah, they got Tyler Naquin.
Yep. Darren Ruff.
Darren Ruff and Daniel Vogelbach. They are probably going to platoon as a DH.
Yep. Look, they're all kind of middle of the ground. Look, you put them in, spell some guys, give them some rest.
All the fringe players.
Yeah.
All the guys on the edges that you need to come in, bring in that pinch hit, when you need it. This is what they needed. They had everybody in place that they wanted. They just needed people coming off the bench, out of the pen, and bringing in the right guy at the right time. And that's what they did here. And Ruff, he rakes left-handers. Rakes them. So, if you're going to have him on the right side and then Vogelbach on the left side as your DH, you got that spot that you needed shored up. And then if you need them to play in a position, you can throw out Vogelbach at first base, so you got
some options.
Somebody that can be there.
Yeah.
So, and then you picked up Michael Givens too. So
probably smart on their part, right? Why mess with something that's working? You're getting a guy back that honestly, any team would have traded for if he was available, right? The best pitcher, one of the best pitchers in the game. Yep. So why rattle the cage if you don't have to. So, no, I think you're right. You changed my mind on
And
that
that's
aspect of it, right? A couple of utility guys
Yeah,
that can
look,
definitely make a
there,
difference.
there was probably 2 teams that could have gotten away with not doing anything except for bringing in some bench players or some relief pitching, and that would have been the Dodgers and the Mets. And the Dodgers didn't do much. The Mets did. They went out and they showed up every one of those bench spots
Yeah.
that they needed to fill. They filled some holes in the bullpen just in case. Because with DeGrom coming back, that's going to send somebody into the bullpen. So that is like getting 2 players to put in that pen. And it still gives you, just in case, DeGrom isn't right, we can put that guy back into the rotation, and then, then it's all, then you have your division leading team again. So I think they did a good job.
So the team that probably did the best in the NL East, though, I would have to say, the Philadelphia Phillies. So currently third in the NL East. They hold on to the last spot in the wild card, 55-47. So that odds are they're not catching the Mets. They're 10 games back. But they pick up Dave Robertson, right? So you talk about a relief, solid guy coming out of your bullpen, 3-0, 40.1 innings pitched, 2.3 ERA, 51 strikeouts, 14 saves. So you could even
He's had a great year
as a closer if you had to.
I knew he was going to be gone. I knew people would have wanted him.
Yeah.
He's got experience in postseason, too.
We have to talk, too. The Cubs didn't make as many moves as I thought. They didn't unload like we really expected them to.
No, like Contreras didn't move, which is a very big surprise. So this would have been the year to do it, and they didn't, and now they're going to have to try to re-sign him. So
Interesting. Brandon Marsh, outfielder, again, good, solid utility guy, 226, 8 home runs, 37 RBIs, 66 hits. But again, you can use him. We know some of the injuries that they've had, so that makes that interesting.
Yeah, he's probably going to be in center field, probably on a regular basis defensively. Look, this is a kid. He's 23, I believe. He's got a bright future, and they're banking on him turning a corner and, banking on being in a solid lineup to make him better. And I think that's what they're counting on, and that could be what they get, because he's a pretty good player. He shows flashes, and I've seen him play. He hustles. Like, there's a lot to love about this kid, and if he turns that corner this year with Philadelphia, woo, that's a big pickup.
And again, the health of Bryce Harper. If they get Bryce Harper back, and he's able to contribute, now all of a sudden you're talking about a very potent.
Yeah, I guess they just took the pins out of his thumb or whatever. So he's going to start ramping up.
And then they went out and they didn't finish the night with just that. They picked up Noah Syndergaard from the Angels as well. He's 5-8, 80 innings pitched, 3.83 ERA, 64 strikeouts.
I knew he was going to move.
Right. So again, we talked about the Angels and what they might have been doing. A lot of discussion about Ohtani, and that didn't happen. But they still trade a guy. Look, Syndergaard had the 1 year left on the contract. So this is his final year of the deal. He signed a 1 year deal. But you have to look at the fact that for them, they get themselves an ace.
Yes.
We said the Angels have struggled all year with putting up runs. 5-8 for him is probably more of an 8-3 type of season right now if he was on Philadelphia.
Yeah.
So I think they are going to make some. I don't think they catch the Braves or the Mets, but I think they hold on to that wild card spot.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
NL Central will be the key. Who wins that division? That team that loses it will probably be out. I think the Phillies get in. So let me ask you this question, Ron. Out of all the NL teams that made the moves here that we just discussed, obviously the easy answer would be the San Diego Padres had the best trade deadline. But was there a team you thought maybe did better?
No,
Really?
no, no. I mean, they got Soto, they got Bell, and just that alone is enough to do wonders. But then you throw in Josh Hader and Drury. Like that's pretty solid.
It's
That's
tough.
pretty
It is.
solid. The only thing that can derail San Diego is if their starting rotation falls apart.
Yeah.
Other than that,
I agree with you, Padres, but the Phillies very good.
yeah, the Phillies did do a good job. They did a good
all
job.
three of the guys they picked up will contribute.
Yeah.
And will help them in a playoff run.
Yeah, and I like St. Louis's moves too. So that would be probably third in my book.
Yeah.
Dodgers did nothing, really. I mean, when I look at the Dodgers,
second best record in baseball. Sometimes you stand pat. All right, let's go American League here. You ready for this one?
No.
We'll start off in the West. The Seattle Mariners. They picked up a couple of players. Carlos Santana, first baseman catcher from the Royals, batting .203, 9 home runs, 33 RBIs, 54 hits. They're currently tied for the last spot in the wild card. Second in the West, 12 games behind the Houston Astros. But then they picked up Luis Castillo, the pitcher from the Reds, there 4-4, 85 innings pitched, 2.86 ERA with 90 strikeouts. So a dominant pitcher. The only thing I think derails this team is injuries, right? You can't afford to lose Rodriguez. He's out right now.
Right.
You got to keep that core. I like the Santana move. I think, look, it's a veteran guy who's been around for quite some time. He's 36. You're not getting him for anything other than experience and keeping that young team in line and understanding what they need to do to win.
It's going to be hard for them to hold on to that spot.
It will be. A lot of teams are pushing. Yes, the East made a lot of moves. We'll talk about that. Almost every team except for one. So it'll be interesting. The team they're trying to surpass are the Houston Astros.
Yeah.
Who went out and had a very good trade deadline as well. 67 and 37 overall. So they pick up Trey Mancini. So obviously the Orioles' best player. 268 batting average, 10 home runs, 41 RBIs, 95 hits. Didn't need him, realistically. But then they go out, they get Christian Vasquez from the Red Sox. He's batting 282, 8 home runs, 42 RBIs, 83 hits. Having a very good season. And then they get Will Smith, the pitcher from the Braves. So, again, relief out of the pen.
Yeah. Houston's definitely got jiggy with it.
So they're very solid, yes. It's just interesting to me that a team that was already pretty consistent. And again, the best team in baseball right now is the New York Yankees record-wise, and they own the New York Yankees. So they could have stayed packed, right? And they could have stand packed and said, look, we know we can beat New York, but we're going to pick up some of the best players in the AL East too. So not only do they pick players, but they pick players that from the AL East that face the Yankees. So know that pitching staff, very smart moves, very, very smart moves. Look, to me, the Astros are the favorite to get out of the American League. Really
absolutely. Absolutely. That goes without saying.
The starting pitching. Again, you got a rotation with Verlander, who's just destroying the competition right now. And then you talk about all the bats they have. I thought they did a great job. They could have stayed packed, and they didn't. They picked up some quality players. Again, Mariners, it's a great story, but there's no way that they're catching Houston.
Nope.
And to your point, they probably don't even get the wild card. I don't think they did enough to get the wild card.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. There's too many teams vying for it.
They would have been better off trying to get Soto. That would have been the team that if they got Soto, that would have probably put them over the top.
Well, yeah, it's going to put any team over the top for.
So let's talk about the AL Central and some teams. So the Minnesota Twins currently lead the AL Central. 54 and 48. Made a couple moves. Solid, decent moves.
Yep.
Tyler Mahle, 5 and
Molly.
7. Is it Molly? 5 and 7, 104.1 innings pitched, 4.4 ERA, 114 strikeouts. Again, with the Reds, Minnesota's got some bats. Get that ERA down a little bit, though. I think he needs to get that ERA down a little bit. But then they pick up Jorge Lopez, pitcher from the Orioles. Again, when you talk about bullpen, closer, 4 and 6, 48.1 innings pitched, 1.68 ERA.
Yeah, he's having a tremendous year.
Right? So now you got it. You get enough. A little echo there.
That was weird.
That was. I like what the Twins did here. They made some moves at the beginning of the season. You got some veterans, got some guys from New York that are all contributing. Now you just make a couple of small moves, keep yourself in contention in the AL Central.
Yeah, Michael Fulmer from Detroit is having a pretty good year. You know, I mean, they did what they needed to do. They probably hold on to that spot because Cleveland did nothing and Chicago White Sox barely did anything.
Yeah. Cleveland did make a move. And the White Sox, who we're going to talk about next, picked up Jake Diekman, 5 and 1, 38.1 innings pitched, 4.23 ERA, 51 strikeouts with the Red Sox.
Yeah, they're going to have
good numbers, but and they're 3 games back of the wild card right now, the White Sox. So they're not even in the wild card. They're 3 games back. This to me felt like they just made a move to say, look, if things go our way.
Well, they do have a lot of injuries, so
yeah, we made a move.
They're banking on their injuries coming back and producing, and that's what they're doing. And you know, I don't know, you know.
And the Twins very, very quietly look. They picked up Correa at the beginning of the year, right? And he hasn't even been Correa. He was hurt for a majority of the season now, and yet they're in first place. Here's these small market teams that, to me, drive me nuts because they'll have that season. They'll have that 1 or 2 seasons where they're very competitive, and then, you know, they let it all go again, and they start all over, and it drives me nuts because I think I was more disappointed that the Baltimore Orioles didn't make moves. They got rid of everybody. You were in 4th place. You're still in a wild card race. Like, you could have – this would have been the season to just do it. Go for it.
Yeah, and the sad part is, okay, so if you're only 2 games back of making the playoffs, in that division where you get beat up every year, you're this close, you should go for it.
Yeah.
You should go for it because you might not be this close for another 10 years.
Yeah, and that's what I think. Look, the Twins, at least they did that. Again, small market team, they could have just said, look, we don't want to add payroll. We don't want to add these players. They did.
And they
did.
did.
Great job to them. We're going to talk AL East now. So every team except for Baltimore made a move, even though Baltimore made moves, but that was more of a, they were sellers. So we'll start off with the Tampa Bay Rays, who are currently 3rd in the AL East, 15 games back of first place. They are 2nd in the wild card right now. They picked up David Peralta from the Diamondbacks. He's batting .248, 12 home runs, 41 RBI, 70 hits. He plays left field. Here's a team that, again, to me, if I was a Rays fan, I would drive me absolutely up a wall because all we're saying is, look, we're good enough to get into the playoffs. We're not going to do anything. And this is a very good division.
Yeah,
all the teams are over 500.
It doesn't do anything for their playoffs.
Yeah, I feel like
it's almost like they're wasting a playoff spot.
Yep, they're gonna drop some ground, and look, the White Sox might be able to catch them and take over that wild card spot. Honestly, that may be one of the options. What about the
Boston? Don't count Boston.
Yeah, we'll get to Boston. They're there too. The Toronto Blue Jays, who are 2nd in the AL East, 12 games back, 1st in the wild card. So again, they hold the top wild card spot. Picked up a bunch of guys, a lot of pitching. definitely went pitching heavy. Zach Pop, Anthony Bass, and Mitch White.
Yes.
So definitely all bullpen. They wanted to strengthen the bullpen,
And they needed to.
and they shored that up. Very good guys. Anthony Bass right now 1.41 ERA.
Yeah, it's insane.
So very good, 45 strikeouts. And then they picked up very quietly Whit Merrifield from the Royals, who's having a down year, but very good bat. He's got a very good bat. Now you put him in a lineup that protects him a little more.
And he can play everywhere.
He's going to put up some hits now.
So, to me, this screams, the Brock Holt situation when he was in Boston. He was playing every day, but playing in a different position every day.
Just
and I think this is what you're going to see with him, because he's not going to take someone's job away, but he's going to get plenty of at-bats because he's going to be in there, giving somebody a break, So during the regular season, he's going to be more important to get those players a rest. When it comes playoff time, he's probably going to be on the bench, coming off the bench for defensive purposes or, a pinch hitter or something like that. So good move, though. Good move.
Very good move. Very good move. I like what the Blue Jays did. Look, they stayed.
Yeah, I think they did it. They actually did so much that they're probably going to keep that top wild card spot.
So the team that confused me a little bit, the New York Yankees. I kind of liked the moves, and then I didn't like the moves. So they got rid of Montgomery, who was one of their starting pitchers.
Well, it's all because they didn't want to be shown up by the Red Sox not knowing what they were doing. So the Yankees said, "Oh, well, we can play it this way too."
I see where you're going with that. So they picked up early in the trade period, Andrew Benintendi. I think that's a great move. Puts up solid bat in the lineup where now you're not looking for home runs. You're looking for a guy to get on base.
Because realistically, there was no way they were going to go after Soto. Because if you can't pay both of those, Soto and Judge, $500 million.
Judge won't be there after the season. That's just my prediction.
I think it will. I think this is the statement saying that he will be there.
So they also picked up Harrison Bader, center fielder. So they're going to move Judge back over to right field where he should be playing.
Where he needs to be.
And Bader's an extremely good defensive guy. So I like the move. Okay, great.
Right.
But then you pick up Frankie Montas from Oakland, who's supposed – I mean, from a standpoint, Montgomery's pitched so well for New York. To me, this feels like you had to move him because you picked up Montas, and it doesn't make sense to me. I mean, 4-9, again, 104.2 innings pitched, 3.18 ERA. Solid. 109 strikeouts. But, I mean, do you feel
I think getting rid of Montgomery was foolish.
I'm kind of curious what Montgomery's numbers were. I'm going to look it up.
Because, look, when you go into the playoffs and you have 4 guys in your rotation, now you can even get away with 3 at times.
Yeah.
But there's no guarantee of the health of some of those pitchers that they're counting on. And to me, if you're going to have Montgomery not in the rotation in the playoffs, you put him coming out of the bullpen. Why would you not want that? I don't understand that. This would have made the Yankees much better.
So ERA 3.69, 114 innings pitched, 97 strikeouts.
Plus, besides, if you wanted to have a good defensive outfielder, I'm sure the Red Sox would have been more than happy to give you Jackie Bradley.
You and Jackie Bradley. He didn't move. I was surprised they didn't try to dump him. Yeah, you take a left-handed pitcher out of your lineup, too.
Yeah.
Montas, a right-handed pitcher. They picked up Scott Efros, a young pitcher, 1-4 right now. Again, bullpen, King down for the year. So trying to solidify some help in the bullpen. Chapman's been coming back and looking better, which is important. But again, another team we talk about didn't really have to make some moves, but you kind of expected them to make a bigger move, if that made
So
sense.
my theory about getting rid of Montgomery. Okay, so he's a lefty. How many lefties are in Toronto for power hitters? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you only have to really worry about Devers in Boston. You know, maybe one guy on each of the teams
But
in the American League East, mind
yeah,
you.
and that's if you play Toronto in the playoffs.
So
No
I'm
guarantee.
thinking that's why they said, okay, we can go without a lefty because there's really nobody that's going to hurt us too bad except for Devers, and the Red Sox probably aren't going to make the playoffs. So I think that's why they said, okay, Montgomery is expendable.
It could
But
very well be.
the problem with that is the biggest competition is going to be Houston. That's the problem with it.
Yeah. The key to me is when you get guys from small market teams. So he came from Oakland.
Yeah.
And you go to a big market like New York, Boston, some of the fans are different, the media is
Oh, they
different.
are.
The pressure becomes elevated. Some of these guys don't perform as well.
No.
And we saw that. We see that all the time. Look at Joey Gallo, perfect example. Granted, his batting
Oh,
average,
absolutely.
but I think his batting average was like 230 when he came to New York. He's just had such a bad run in New York. He just
Yeah.
you just understand.
And the fans are on him every single time.
Yeah.
So when he
Pressure's
goes up
on.
to the plate, that's it. He's going to hear it.
Pressure's
And
on.
it just gets worse.
So,
And you know who was like that? Greinke.
Zach Greinke. Oh yeah, absolutely. He even said it. He hates the spotlight.
He doesn't like going to big market teams, and
And
that's why he likes.
never won. Yeah, he never won.
Yeah.
He went to Arizona, which again was a small market. He won his championship with them,
Yeah.
but
Even Houston is in a big market.
yep. So let's finish with the best of the teams here, and that's the Boston Red Sox.
Baltimore? Oh, Baltimore? No.
And your Boston Red Sox, 52-52, so they're 500. They're fifth in the AL East, just below Baltimore. 3 games back of the wild card. So they picked up Tommy Pham, Reese McGuire, which is a replacement for obviously Vasquez, and then Eric Hosmer was a big move.
Yeah, actually, Eric Hosmer. Actually, his hitting style fits Fenway Park so good, so good. It's ridiculous.
I'm going to ask you this as a Red Sox fan. How confused are you with what Boston did? Because at one point it looked like they were going to just dump everyone and try to move them, and then they end up keeping all these guys. JD Martinez was rumored to go to the Mets. We know the Xander Bogaerts situation.
Yeah.
Yet they kept these guys.
Evaldi.
Right? Evaldi, was a hot commodity, starting pitching anywhere. People are willing to give you just about anything. They keep these guys. It's almost like they're saying, we still feel like we're in it. We're not going to go crazy, but we feel like we're in it.
When Christian Vasquez was traded to Houston, before that, the Red Sox informed Devers and Bogaerts that they were not being traded. So they were not being traded. So they made it a point to tell them, mostly because of the history after when they traded Nomar Garcia-Parra at this time. So they were told they were not being traded. So there was 2 untouchables for the Red Sox, and those were the 2. Now, with that being said, they probably weren't going to get enough for JD Martinez, having, struggles lately. But
still an all-star.
Still an all-star player, and any team would want him. They probably weren't going to get enough for him. So I don't know if that means they're going to try to re-sign him, maybe for a year.
He's batting 288. Yeah, he's struggling.
Yeah, he's struggling. He was batting when we did the.
Yeah, 300. Yeah, he was almost 300. Yeah, he was
No, he
over.
was
300.
over. He was
Yeah,
like
he was over
320
300.
at the time.
Yeah.
Because he was top 3 in the league.
Yeah, yeah. It's
But,
just it's an
you know-
interesting situation because they had an opportunity to figure out what they're going to do, and I think there's more questions now after they've done this than there was before the trade deadline.
So the tough part is trading Vasquez. It kind of doesn't make sense because you don't want to trade your catcher because
They're
of
the
the
best team
fact.
in the American League,
Yeah.
or it's second best team technically.
Well, I mean, look, you're talking one of the best catchers in baseball.
Yeah.
Especially defensively. And he calls a good game. Whether the pitcher hits the spots or not, that's a different story. He calls a good game.
Yeah, so think about the staff he's going with now. You know what I mean?
Right. It's in shambles right now.
Yeah.
So, that's the thing that is so misunderstood. But when you really look at it, okay, first of all, the Red Sox needed to be shaken up. So a trade needed to happen. And when you look at it, your other options that way you could trade is Bobby Dahlbeck.
Yeah. Nobody wants. Yeah.
Jaron Duran, who, batting like 230.
Yeah, he's just not there yet.
I mean, he's got a lot to learn. He's clearly not ready for center field.
Yeah.
And of course Jackie Bradley. Those are the guys that are available. So you're not going to get anything for the others. So, and you certainly wasn't going to get enough back for JD Martinez.
Yeah. Or Evaldi at that for that.
Right, because Evaldi's just coming back from an injury, and he had one good outing, which was last night, which was phenomenal. But that's besides the point. And they might not have wanted to trade Evaldi because of how good he plays against the Yankees, and that is, important if you are in the American League East. And say what you want about the move to get rid of Vasquez, but that was really their only option.
Yeah, but see, do you not feel like, and maybe I'm
and
over,
his hitting isn't that great
but maybe I'm overthinking this, but this is almost like going out with a girl, and you go all these places, you go to vacations, you do all this thing, but you don't call it your girlfriend, right? You can't put the Red Sox are like in that realm right now of, look, we're probably not good enough to get to the playoffs. But we're gonna just keep teasing you, like, hey, yeah, you know what? Yeah, we'll go on vacation and we'll hang out with the family.
The sad part is,
you're not my girlfriend.
I think they are good enough to make the playoffs because they're going to get
good
Devers back probably tonight.
Yeah, they
as
got
I'm
one good month.
looking at,
So realistically, they've only had one good month. They've had more bad months than good months.
June was great.
So
like 20-6 or something like that.
You got enough of a sample size to say, look, they're not as good as their record was because they had such a good June.
Well, but look at the American League. Who's in front of you?
White Sox, Tampa, right? The Mariners right now.
Right. Like they can be beat. I think the Red Sox, when they're healthy, and the key word is when they're healthy, they're better than those teams. They are better than those teams. So, and then not so far back that they can't just, go on a streak like they did in June and overtake those teams and reestablish, So, and I look, there's nobody that screams how bad they are more than me.
We know. Yes, we know.
I'm like every day I message you, Red Sox suck again. It's not a fun product to watch. Like this last month, it is not fun to watch. They're bad, but when you look at it, they have Story, who only is hitting 225. So, I mean, it is what it is. But he's been hurt. Devers has been hurt. The entire starting rotation was out. The entire starting rotation. So I mean, you can't recover. Like, they went on a streak where they had a rookie starter. I think it was 13 out of 16 games. Like,
Yeah,
and they weren't
recovered
like
from that.
they weren't like these rookies that you see coming out of like San Diego and all of these teams that have been pretty bad for many years that build up prospects. No, these are pitchers coming out of the Red Sox farm system. So, and it is pretty bad. It's like one of the worst farm systems in baseball. So I mean, how good could they even be? They're not very good.
So I will ask you the same question I asked about the National League. Which team in the American League do you feel did the best?
I would say Houston.
Houston.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't really need much,
And the guys
but
they got were the guys they got are playing.
Yeah,
without a doubt. Like, they're definitely going to be a part of their rotation when it comes to bullpen.
Absolutely.
They're going to be in the lineup when it comes to the bats. I think they did the best job.
Houston, and I would say Toronto was close.
But Toronto did a good job. They focused on what they needed the most.
Absolutely.
Right? It's not just get another bat. And that's one of the debates that Yankees fans had. Like, do you really need Soto? All you're doing is add another home run hitter. Versus,
well, this is through history. I've been watching baseball since way back, okay? Now, when you make a run in the playoffs, there are a couple of things that you can do to win the World Series. You can either do it with a couple of starters, a la Schilling and Randy Johnson.
Yeah, Arizona days, yeah.
Or your bullpen is so good, like the Kansas City Royals, good. That's ways that you can do it. But almost every equation comes from pitching.
Yeah, agreed. Good pitching is going to be good batting.
So while I still feel San Diego changed their destiny, to at least make the playoffs and be a contender,
Dodgers have a better
rotation. Not think that they are going to win it.
Yeah. Dodgers have a better rotation.
I
think it's LA, Houston. I really do.
I still like the Mets. Ooh. Because Scherzer, and if DeGrom is healthy, Scherzer and DeGrom can be that Randy Johnson Schilling. Because they're so dominant when they're good. They can actually pull it off. Now, if DeGrom is not himself, then all bets are off. Then I would think that, LA or Atlanta will probably take it. But Houston should be there from the American League. I don't see anybody that can put their pitching staff like Houston right now.
Yeah, agreed. So once again, if you enjoy what you're watching, the ticker on the bottom there lets you know exactly how you can follow us. Every Friday night, we are live. We're Fan Interactive. We are on at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. All live. We cover all of the major topics that are going on in the sports world. This week, we are just going to have a show upon shows because there has already been
Deshaun
Watson, the Miami Dolphins.
I cannot wait to talk about everything.
Right. So we've got a lot to discuss just in the NFL alone, but we've got so much we're going to be covering. So check us out. Follow us on social media at Sports Unfold on Facebook and Twitter, MeWe, the YouTube channel, Rhode Island Broadcasting on all different formats as well, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. So we are continuing to grow. If you'd like to sponsor the show, rimedia.broadcasting or ribroadcasting.media@gmail.com. Check us out, sponsor the show so we can continue to grow and add and advertise for your business worldwide. So much we could do for you. Ron, I want to thank you for your Major League Baseball insight. Not only my hockey guru, my baseball guy too.
Look, I can do it all, man.
Stay tuned tonight as well as we release our Major League Baseball rankings. I'm going to say there's not many surprises, kind of stayed the same. But with these moves, we could see some teams changing up before the end of the season. Ron?
Hey, prediction.
Go ahead.
Hosmer gets 7 doubles this week.
All right. Well, we'll keep an eye on that one.
7 doubles. Although they're on the road, so that could when they get home, you'll have
Aaron
7
Judge
doubles.
gets to 45 by the end of the week.
Oh my God, Aaron Judge has just been.
And can I say with this Aaron Judge thing that bothers me? You remember back in the day, he's beating McGuire right now, and you remember every at bat they had McGuire on, and now they're not doing it with Judge.
Look,
almost don't matter anymore.
How much would it mean to you when I am rooting for Judge to break the record? So I want all of them wiped away.
Yeah, I got you.
Wiped away.
Yeah,
McGuire, Sosa, and Bonds wiped away from the record books.
Yeah,
I am rooting for a Yankee to do this.
No, I can see why. It would definitely make your argument a lot easier next time that he's not the all-time home run.
Oh my God! Because look, Judge is just big. He's a big guy. He's always been big.
Yeah.
But when you look at the other three, when they came up, oh my God.
A lot different, but just an interesting side note. So we will see you Friday, Ron.
Absolutely.
All right. Everybody out there, take care. All we want in this world is peace.